FlawlessTracks.net. FlawlessTracks.net.
Can everybody hear your boy? If you can, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. It's your boy Ghetto Genius here. We're back with another live stream on the Happy Sabbath day. Shout out to everybody that's doing the Sabbath today. Shout out to everybody that did the Sabbath sometime during this week. You know, new moons, things of that nature. We follow the new moon schedule or just the 6-day, 7-day schedule, quote unquote. Shout out to you. We're all back in the building today. As you guys can see on the title, let me move that BS out the way. You know, it's about that time of year again. That whole civil rights, quote unquote, civil rights, quote unquote, Black History Month time period. You know, we're heading into that. I've been talking about this for a while now. You know, we're heading to that time period where, the media is on their bullshit when it comes to manipulating so-called Black people. to believe in the same BS narratives. So, what I'm going to do today, as the title says, it's going to be more so a preview to the live streams that will be coming next month, starting Friday. Hopefully, that will be. Hopefully, other brothers will be able to come on and contribute. If not, I am very happily to go solo. So but yeah, we're gonna jump into that. Let's see. Make sure I share my screen. Chrome tabby. Okay, there we go. You guys should be seeing that on the screen any second now. All right. So we're on the screen. You guys should be able to see that. Another ISUPK feature. Tazariak, he does a lot of good teaching, so shout out to him for that. Even though there are some things that he says is just like, wow. But you know how camps go. By the way, we're gonna touch on all of that starting next month, like the camps and things of that nature. We're gonna go into real so-called Black history. We're not gonna be teaching none of that bullshit that the media teaches. We're gonna do our best by the grace and mercy of the Most High to be able to edify from a much more logical and true perspective. But this is going to be my launching off pad, if you will, for this. So shout out to Zariak for his clubhouse discussions that he decides to put on YouTube. Gives me some things to talk about. So yeah, they're going to talk about Michael King and the civil rights leaders and all that stuff of the 60s and the residual effects of how this played into society now and society moving forward. So, oh yeah, my bad, Martin Luther. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna chime in every near and there just to make sure I ain't got no comments to begin with. The boy 10K, I appreciate you coming on, brother, with the fire emojis. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I appreciate all the brothers coming through and all the people that will watch this playback. I appreciate all y'all for coming in. I appreciate the viewership. You know what I'm saying? Building from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? One day at a time. So, let's go ahead and get into this. And I will chime in here, near, and there. Make sure if I can try something real quick. Nope, that did not work. Why did StreamYard play the sample music? I don't understand. But you know what? Oh well. Let's get into this, and I'll chime in every here and there. Let's rock.
Sorry,
So a
Tommy.
statue.
Test
Yeah,
this
no, you're
out.
good. Okay, so a statue was
That didn't
removed
work.
in Ghana or a university in Ghana when some early
Shout out to Ghana, the house of J2K, the house that the house that J2K built. Shout out to Ghana. You feel me?
writing of Gandhi before he made his like conversion into, this peaceful guy that he is he actually wrote in a journal. This is while he was in South Africa. Uh, that white people should be there and that they should be the predominant race. That's quote end quote. And then he also said right after that black people are very troublesome, very dirty, and live like animals. And then it goes on. So like the guy was a
Damn, Gandhi said all that. Gandhi was spitting hot fire back then, wasn't he? I'm just playing, but that just goes to show you that Gandhi, Gandhi worshipped so-called white people just like a lot of so-called black people today. That civil rights mindset. But anyway, moving on.
the full-fledged racist. He like adopted everything from like the white racists down in South Africa during apartheid, and he carried that on into coming back to India. So I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. For there's a lot more like research on that. And the
We
things that
all
he
a little
said and
racist.
done.
Didn't he get
I think we
assassinated?
all a little racist, to be honest. I think people get with their family and they talk about certain
people or, you know, black people or niggas or whatever they call us. I feel like it's black people that get around, they talk about Mexicans or white people. So shit, I mean, just keep it real. We all a little racist and we learn it from our parents. If you really
Yeah, that's pretty much true. We're all racist, but it's not a bad thing. And that's the other issue. Racism is natural. It's a self-preservation technique, you know. We might get into that in this if I can get through this video quick enough, we might touch on the term racism, and we might touch on to the term race itself, you know, what that term actually means. But I don't want to spend too much time on this video because we're going to do literally all of that starting on Friday. But like I said, this video is really like a more so of a preview video rather than just going what would you call it, full force into some of these topics. But yeah, just get back to the point. Racism is not a bad thing. Racism is quite natural, okay? And it's very necessary. So for all you people out there that just well, hey, sounds like you bigger of a bitch than you thought you was. But anyway, back to the video.
you really want to be technical, it's learned at home.
Yeah, because behaviors are learned. It's not like we're just born racist. Like we learn, a behavior is learned. So if that's how we're growing up, then that's what's going to be in our head. Now we can change, you know, as we get older and shit. But you're right. I mean, a behavior is fucking learned. So we all have those tendencies. Now,
not that one. That's natural. So no, you can't change that. Anyway,
once you get grown and you choose to move a certain way, I do hold you accountable. But you know, it's embedded in us. You know, unfortunately.
I hate everybody equally.
No, that's a fact, right?
y'all trying to ruin
my hate does not discriminate.
Why, bro?
I pretty much hate everybody too, but there's levels to that, or levels to the reasoning. But I definitely agree with his statement. I hate just about everybody. Oh man, that's a classic one right there. In the words of the Hodge twins, I don't trust black people. I don't trust white people. I think all of y'all full of shit. I might get that clip if I can find it on my Google Cloud. I might have to play that shit near the end of the video. Classic.
Cause MLK niggas talking about MLK fake, Gandhi fake. Like I'm doing. They ruined your
Brock.
shit.
Don't listen to these niggas, bro. Brock,
doing my research on my phone.
Nigga, Brock. Don't listen to these niggas. I don't know what they talking about.
He stopped listening when they said Santa Claus.
I'm still listening. I'm still looking at the Martin Luther King cartoon.
Hey, Brock,
I know which one.
Yeah, because you're a little boy. What grown man gives a fuck about them Martin Luther King cartoons still? Like, nigga, you just a little boy trapped in a grown man's body. Get the fuck out of here.
This shit had you at the beach sitting on the rocks. Looking at the water.
Ready to jump off the bridge, smoking a blunt.
Man,
I'm really fucked up about this Martin Luther King thing. I ain't gonna lie. What Cap at? Cap, we might have to debate on this one, man. I might have to go get my shit. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm on another call. Come right there, and I know you're a little messed up. Everybody get messed up.
Yeah, I'm a little messed up about that Martin Luther King, Cap. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I grew up watching that movie.
My Martin Luther King had a dream. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Oh my God.
We don't give a fuck about his dream. But before we do that, get some shout outs real quick before we dive straight into this. The boy, already shout out 10K once again, you know what I'm saying? 10K in the building with the flame. The boy San John in the building, 144 in the building. Shalom to you, brother. The boy Mac, man. The boy Mac in the building. Yoga Flame, you dig? Shout out to you for being here. My honorary elders, J2K in the building. As a matter of fact, both Mac and J2K my honorary elders. Quintuple honors and salutations to them, you know what I'm saying? Representing, you know what I mean? Representing the elders of the NWBs. You know what I'm saying? We in the building, you know what I mean? Shalom to all y'all brothers, man. Shout out to the brothers that's going to come through eventually or watch the playback. I appreciate all y'all viewership, but let's go ahead and get back into this.
And and they take you back in the day and you with Martin Luther King and you playing
Mhm.
baseball and shit.
Yeah,
y'all
and
been
they
a movie.
pull, and then when you at school and they pull the TV out, they roll the TV in
Yup.
your room. Nigga.
Yup.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all
Ever
talking
since
about.
then, I've been with Martin Luther King, bro. I ain't no nigga.
Well, who cares?
I was just happy they taught my baby about a black man finally.
You feel me, Phoenix?
Yeah, that's kind of different. That's just that. It's because man, they stopped that shit for a while.
Because look, Martin Luther King do good, and I'm gonna stop trolling. I'm gonna be serious right now. Like Martin Luther King, he inspires black men to do better. So like, yeah, he might not have been the best example or whatever, and we might know some deep down dirt about him and shit. But shouldn't we like kind of like push him to the forefront? You know what I'm saying? Because he actually do more good than bad. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allegedly, he did more good than bad. Allegedly, he did more good than bad.
Absolutely. I don't think like mistakes or things that you've said or done should define you as a person, especially if you're one of influence, right? Because if you look at it, good still weighs out the bad. So I think people hyper
Says who? You? Come on, man.
focus on small things like, oh, he's done X, Y, and Z, we should cancel it. No, I think Martin Luther King's a great example. I think he's a great guy. I think
created a whole movement, I believe.
He's a great guy.
I feel like this is a
he
way of
created a
people
whole
trying to
movement.
discredit heroes and national icons.
What makes him a hero? Because he has influence? Because he's a quote unquote national icon? Because everybody knows him? Is that what makes him a hero? I'm telling you, man. We've said this before. We touched on this in other live streams that we've done with the other NWBs, but we've touched on this before. The so-called black woman is the biggest dumbass on planet Earth, and that's because the so-called black man is the biggest jackass on planet Earth. Like, it's just ridiculous. We don't know shit, and we're prideful about it. Like, this is ridiculous. They said absolutely nothing. He's a hero because everybody knows him. He has influence. How does that make you a good person? I mean, seriously, more times than not, that makes you a bad person. Especially the way this society rolls. You don't get to prominence. You don't get to prominence as a regular person in general, but as a so-called black person in this society without going through the satanic industry in some way, shape, or form. So, once again, what makes him a good person?
If a man says that he felt he was leading the black people into a burning house, what does that say about his mission?
Thank you, sir. It says a whole lot of negative. That's what it says.
That's what he said, his own quote, verbatim. Towards the end of his mission, he changed his mind. I give him the credit for being able to gather the people. So like that boycott that he did on the buses was a prime example of when black people come together and unite, they can get whatever they want.
No, that actually that little bullshit bus, god damn it. What's I gonna say? That little bullshit bus boycott is the epitome of misdirection and so-called black people being duped into concerning themselves with things that should have never been on their radar in the first place. Because by doing that, it showed so-called black people, it gave what's the best way of putting this? It basically destroyed the so-called black bus lines because everybody was too busy focused on trying to get on the white, quote unquote, so-called Caucasian bus lines. That's what happened with that bus boycott. Like, who cares if you can't sit in the front of a so-called Caucasian bus? Like, who gives a shit? Why don't you go create your own bus lines, and then you can sit wherever the fuck you want as so-called black people on your own buses. By the way, they had that back then. If you look up, I think it was Dr. Claude Anderson, if y'all know him. I think it was like his first interview on the Breakfast Club. He talks about, I believe it was his grandfather, something like that. It was either his grandfather or something like that. He owned a bus line, and what it did during that time period, I believe it was from South Carolina to like Alabama, something like that, or maybe Mississippi. And what happened was with that Montgomery bus boycott, what that did was it caused what's the best way of putting it? It caused it caused his grandfather's bus line to go out of business because nobody was riding. None of the so-called black people were riding his buses anymore, which he lost all of his grandfather lost all of his, like, his customers, his business. He lost all the money basically. But that's because they were too busy focused on riding the so-called white man's bus, trying to sit anywhere they want to sit on the so-called white man's bus. So you see how our people were being manipulated into bullshit back in the 60s, which has big time residual effects today, especially in this fucking conversation.
Because they wanted to get, feel like they could sit wherever it is that they wanted to sit, but then they turned that mission into serving another nation and they're leaving their own behind. Because once again, if you start fighting to go into white restaurants and you convincing all these black people that the white restaurants are better, what happens to the black restaurants? Where the black
Ding.
restaurants today? If you tell them the black stores, we want to get into the white stores, and you're convincing all these black people white stores are better, what happens to the white stores? Even if you do Brown versus Board of Education, when we want white people's education, what happened to black folks' education? So he can be a hero to some, but at what cost? Because we don't have none of that shit now. But when you go during the time of Martin Luther King, we had all of that. But his dream of everybody coming together, we lost. We lost everything. We don't have black homes. We don't have black businesses. We don't have black education. If y'all look up Little Rock, Arkansas for another example. Now, this ain't Martin. This is like Brown versus Board of Education. So in Little Rock, Arkansas, that's when they had the National Guard protect these 9 black kids that they were sending to a white school. And the reason why they had the National
9. We all know about that number 9, boy. I turned a 6 upside down. It's a 9 now.
Guard there because you got these white parents, these white children, all angry and violently wanting to attack these 9 kids and their families because they go into their school. And there's a video of the woman of one of the children or one of the girls.
Was that the video they showed in Forrest Gump, Cap? Was that like part of the video? No?
No, I ain't seen Forrest Gump to know that. But
Okay,
in the video, they showed a black girl. She's older. And they asked her what was her experience going to that school. And she said, I guess I would have been more nicer if I would have went to black school. She said, because the way that they abused me at the school, I couldn't. Yeah, she said the way they abused me at that school, I couldn't fight them. So I would come home and fight beat up my younger brother. You know what I'm saying? So now we become violent to our own because we're afraid or we feel like we can't fight the one that's actually attacking us. So you can call Martin a hero if you want. And you can call black people that wanted to integrate if you want. But if you look at what we lost, ain't none of that shit heroic. It was bitch made.
See, Cap, I'm big on intentions. I get what you saying because you bigger on results and action, and I respect that. But like I'm huge on intentions, and I feel like his intentions was good. I think when we start to like say, okay, he was with this white woman, but he only married Coretta for XYZ. I think we're being presumptuous at that point and adding our own like thoughts into it, like by the facts. I feel like he did good for black people, and my opinion is, we so critical on our own leaders. Like we talk about the 1% or 5% that they did wrong rather than highlighting the 95% that they did right. Yeah, we should hold everybody accountable, but certain people, like certain people, if it ain't do nothing like crazy, I feel like they should get a pass because of their intentions and what they represent for our community. But that's just me.
What I'll say to
what the fuck is he talking about? That nigga just said 1 to 5% wrong. Brother, according to who? You? Like, what are you talking about? You have that nigga really think that Martin Luther King did 95% right? Man, give me a damn break.
The last thing I'll say on it, you said the results, right? Yeah. So if we look at the results, we just go by the leadership. So let's say if he had good intentions, because it could have been good, because he looking at the oppression, and you can't knock that, black people was oppressed back then, and they trying to find solutions.
Right.
But once he says that he feel like he was leading his people into a burning house, that's him acknowledging he was wrong. And we were supposed to take that information and stop that dream.
Well, or
But we further the dream.
or revise that dream, Cap,
But
because he died.
No, or just stop it altogether. But you know, so-called black people, they just ever since the 60s, we've been completely mentally and spiritually lazy. So it is what it is.
Died right after.
Okay.
He died right after that. So you can't really.
And
So you should commend him for that though, Cap. I think you should commend him for saying, "Hey, I fucked up." Because my favorite type of leaders is a leader that can stand up and say, "I messed up." Because you're not gonna be perfect as a leader, but one thing you can do is have accountability and say, "You know what, y'all? I was leading y'all. I thought we was going the right way. I'm looking at the results. It's not necessarily the right way." And then they killed his ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't blame him for that, especially now that he's saying, "Damn, I was wrong." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I think that when you add that part, and then you add the propaganda now, because he's the face for white people. When you have, so like when the Panthers come up, or like when the Muslims is coming up, Martin was the face that they would use against the Muslims as far as being separate. Martin was the face for the Panthers when they was trying to defend themselves. So the detriment, and then you have people that still push Martin's dream to this day. So the result part, I rock with you on that, but I don't think we learned from anything he said, because that should have been the most important thing. Like if I say, man, I've been teaching this Bible wrong all this time, we shouldn't do it this way, we should do it another way. Nobody should carry anything that I said prior to that because I said it was wrong. But we still carrying that shit about him as if the shit he said was right when he said he's wrong.
That's a very interesting point you just said there, Tazariak, because I, from what I've heard, I haven't seen the evidence myself, but from what I heard, you guys don't teach that the MOTB is something very chippy. So I haven't seen the evidence myself, but I guess those live streams will be coming next. Like I said, the camp live streams are coming soon. That's all I gotta say.
Wrong. So
yeah, because Cap, I don't think everything was wrong. I think we can't be so.
What was right then?
Say it again.
Tell me what was right.
I'm just saying, like, the thought process of people fighting for equality. Like, I think that thought process, just that basic premise, I get what you're saying. It's kind of like some rainbow and fairy tale ass shit. But that's not a bad thought process, and I think that was his.
You hear that shit? Fighting for equality is not a bad thought process. You hear that shit?
Initial thought process.
But you're fighting to be equal with people that's already empowered over you.
Ding.
It would be more powerful for us to have kept building what we were already building.
Ding.
Like statistically, in the 1960s, the black household was becoming the #1 household in America. We were the threat, and Martin helped get rid of that threat.
Ding.
Education, I mean, math is the only thing that's universal. History is subjective. That ain't nothing. And a lot of people is learning the true history now. So outside of math, we didn't really have to learn their type of educational system. We learned our own. We were smarter than them already. That's why 40 years removed from so-called being free from slave, we building the best things. And when you think about look up the inventions that black people created. And half of these inventions that white folks take credit for was created by black people. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
When we say what we gained or trying to join with a nation that's clearly to this day is still strategically trying to dominate us, that equality dream was just nonsense. There's no equality. Somebody's always going to feel superior. Let me go strategically trying to dominate us. That equality dream was just nonsense. There's no equality. Somebody's always going to feel superior. Somebody's going to always feel somebody else is inferior. The problem with black people is that we don't understand that concept. Every other nation does. Every other nation makes sure to try to establish their people as superior. And whatever it is they may do, we're the only ones that think our superiority comes in getting along with everybody else.
So, Cap, do you think his motive was more like?
Thank you, sir. Let me get something real quick. to piggyback off his point, we got to go to the scriptures now. We going to the scriptures now. Hold on, give me a second. Why did you just do that? No, oh my god, this thing got stupid. Where's the thing at? I gotta get used to this Google Chrome. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I gotta get used to this Google Chrome. Oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, the thing. Oh my goodness. This is oh my goodness. I should have set all this up. Okay, what is this doing? Remove you. Am I still echoing? This thing retarded, man. Hold up. Give me 1 second, guys. Audio. All right, y'all should be able to hear me. Why on? Can y'all hear me? Okay, remove it. Can y'all hear me? Just to make sure. Oh my goodness. Just to make sure one time, because I think I got it fixed. Y'all should be able to hear me now. All right. Now, exit out of that. Go back to what I was doing. Oh my goodness. Now the thing is gone again. Move that. All right. My bad. I'm trying to pull up the goddamn Bible app, but this is being ridiculous right now. Okay. Hold up. Move that. God damn it. All right. Now, I think we're good now. Okay, let me all right. Ugh. I gotta work on this Google Chrome shit for real. All right. Now we should be ready to go. Y'all should be able to see that. Y'all should be able to see the BLB Bible app. Damn, all I wanted to do was go to Psalms 83rd chapter. That's all I wanted to do to prove to Zaryak's point. But I just, Esau and his just stupid, whatever. Esau and his stupid ass inventions. Anyway, Can you guys see that on the screen? You guys should be able to see that on the screen. All right, cool. Bet. All right, let's get it. Psalms 83. Just to confirm to Zaryak's point real quick. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but okay, move that out the way, please. Whatever. All right, Psalms 83, starting at verse 1. A song, a psalm of Asaph. Do not keep silent, O God. Do not hold your peace, and do not be still, O God. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted together against your sheltered ones, or in other translations, your hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. What does that mean? The Israelites have been cut off from their inheritance, meaning what? The understanding not only of race in general, but the understanding of what their tribe is, their lineage is, their forefathers, things of that nature. That's what that is referring to. And to put this more into context, we'll read on to verse 5. For they have consulted themselves with one consent, they form a confederacy against you, the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagrites? Okay, whatever. Gabal, Ammon, and Amalek, Philistia. Wow. Philistia or Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria also has joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot, Salah, deal with them as with Midian, as with Sisera, as with Jabin at the brook Kishon, who perished at Endor, who became as refuse on the earth. Now I don't want to go down too far, but I just want to get the premise of all these nations that came against Israel to cut them off. We already know Edom, and obviously Ishmael, the Ishmaelites, Moab, Moabites, the Hagrites. I'm not sure who they are per se. One of y'all can expound on that in the comment section right now. I'm not gonna go into that necessarily today. But Gebal, Ammon, the Ammonites, we've heard about them. Amalek, that's just the descendants of Edom or Amalekites, Philistines or Philistia, things of that nature. I believe they are Hamitic. They are Hamitic, with the inhabitants of Tyre, which they were Canaanites, if I'm not mistaken. Assyria, those of Assyria, I believe they might have been Shemitic, but not of the Israelite stock, but you get the point. So many different nations that have come together, not only back then to a degree, but also even more importantly now more than ever, to cut off the holy people from understanding who they are. And that's what Tazariak was talking about with that with the bullshit concept of civil rights, because through that fighting for equality type of mindset, you never can come into realization who you are truly as a people, which is obviously a no-go. But anyway, let's get back to the video. All right. Back to the Chrome tab. All right. Should be back on the video. Let's rock.
More like self-absorbed, so like to try to like fit in. It wasn't for like, I guess the greater good of the people. Like, do you think he saw what he was doing? Setting us up for failure?
If anything, I would never say his intention wasn't sincere in the beginning. I don't know if maybe along the way he got a little lost. Like I said, like if you do the real history, like he didn't want to be nonviolent in the beginning. That nonviolent was Bayard Rustin told him to do that, to not be violent. Like he wanted to be violent, and so him as the face is probably more so why he's either vilified or glorified. But you can't put the whole movement on his shoulders. It's just he's the face of it. Like anything, whoever's the face of the organization gets the blame or the glory of whatever happens.
The
Right, but
But
quarterback.
he
we
did not
started
want to.
off talking about the white, his white
Yeah,
girlfriend,
he
and
loved them white women.
I just been sitting here like on mute, and I'm like, well, damn, was he trying to, was it a more like self-absorbed motive that he had because he
It could
liked the
be.
white women, and then you said that he pretty much used Coretta Scott King because it looked good,
Yeah,
for the
right,
little
exactly.
situation, but
Hmm.
hoping to like have this shit come together to where he wouldn't be looked at as crazy for being with a white woman
Yeah,
and
because
all of
he
this
couldn't.
shit.
Well, that's part of it, but I mean, that's really the smallest part of it. He was just focused on trying to get as much pussy as possible, but the which led to him doing other things, but other what would you call sexual deviant things allegedly, but we might get into that, we might not. I don't know. Still trying to figure that one out.
He'd done that if he
Eventually,
was married to a white woman. They
right?
would have been looking, especially during that time, not a civil rights leader anyway. Just like Bayard Rustin was an open homosexual, but a lot of people don't know that because it was like when I say open homosexual, he was a known homosexual to them, but to the projected people, that information didn't come out till later that he was a
Yeah,
homosexual.
yeah. Usually in the history books, when it comes to people who are gay, they usually say they were really good friends. Have you ever noticed that? They're
Right,
great friends. They're very
right.
close friends. They used to live together. Matter of fact, great friends.
Hmm.
Wait, so when you say that, you're saying what?
Yeah, that's what they write in the
I'm
history
saying that a
book.
homosexual. Oh, I'm what she's saying. I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking about Cap. Like, I know
Oh,
you brought up that his friend or whomever was
a homosexual.
a
Yeah.
homosexual.
I'm not
So,
implying anything about Mark. No, I'm not saying anything about Mark. I'm saying that a homosexual influenced him to be nonviolent. Like without Bayard Rustin, he might not have been nonviolent.
so if
But
he was like straight and influenced them, would it have been different? Or
if he was,
if he was
I don't think a straight man would have
heterosexual?
influenced. I don't know if
Okay.
a straight man would have influenced him during that
I
time.
think she's saying
The liberal woman is so goddamn goofy. So if he was straight, would it have mattered? If he was a straight guy that influenced him to be nonviolent, would that have mattered? Or ain't it? Hey, bitch, shut up. Just stupid shit.
like, what's the significance of him being gay? Like,
Because gay, he
why
was
do you
soft. I'm just saying he was soft.
like a
And of course, the liberal male don't understand either. God damn it.
feminine man kind of like?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All
I'm
right.
saying he was
Cool.
soft. That's what I'm implying.
And then
Because like during
Tommy.
that
I'm
time,
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go here. Like during that time, most men that were leaders were not trying to be sissies like that with that whole nonviolent shit. Until like gay man influenced Martin for it.
The civil rights movement was very successful, though. It's just that the movement was hijacked.
Okay, so how is it highly successful if it was also hijacked at the same time? I mean, seriously, man, people so stupid. That's like I work for a moving company, right? So we got to take people's furniture and from one location or house, apartment, whatever to another. That's like me saying at the end of it, yeah, this move was successful, but all your furniture got hijacked off the truck. I mean, seriously, what kind of logic is that? That's not a successful movement if it got completely hijacked. Fucking idiot. True successful initiatives don't get hijacked. Oh my God, what a dumbass.
And it benefited people that it wasn't supposed to, well, that it wasn't set out to benefit like that. But women and fucking and like the alphabet community benefited big time off of the civil rights community. So that shit was
That's
very
the proof it
successful.
was a failure.
The
It was
If it
ding.
was for
successful
black
for
people,
them
yeah,
people.
but because see how you saying it's successful for them people, but it wasn't for them people. It was supposed to be for black people.
so black
But
people
like you
not
just
as
said, it
better.
was successful for the alphabet.
Hold on,
Captain, I
Cap.
have a
So black.
Alphabet
question.
is not black.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Love.
women too, though. Black women too, though.
Let me do. Okay, well, okay, but dude. So it's only success. It's still successful as long as so-called black women benefit from it. That's when that's the barometer for success. Black women too. Black women too. Glad boy, man.
But was it?
No, I'm saying the alphabet wasn't black. That's what I'm saying. And black women didn't benefit more than white women.
I
They
thought
did
like a
benefit.
lot
From
of the
what?
peaceful stuff came from being a pacifist and being a Quaker. I thought Martin Luther King was a Quaker. I'm
I don't
pretty
know if
sure I
he
read
was.
this.
I don't know if he was
Do
Quaker.
you know what a Quaker
I
is?
don't know if he was a Quaker.
Okay, yeah, I
But I
think
don't
he
think
was a Quaker. I think
third
he.
of it.
Let me go pull that up.
Wait, like the dude on
And
Quaker
no.
Oats?
Quakers were
What the?
basically a like sect of Christianity that was, I think, on the Virginias that got really, really popular.
Yeah.
Quakers, they called them
Because it's
Quakers.
interesting that you say Quaker because
It's
his
crazy
born
y'all
name
saying
was
that because y'all
his
not
born
under
name.
his religion, so of course y'all go like
Ye-
not to say
No,
be
no.
So are you under his religion, sir? Like, what the fuck does that have to do anything?
crazy
But
about
his
it, but y'all
born
gonna
name.
bash the man. Like,
No, because
When you
being a
say
because
Quaker,
that's where
hold on. Before
being
you do
a
that,
pacifist
I
comes
agree
from.
with that.
Like that's what.
hey, before you say that, but it's interesting that you say Quaker because his born name was Michael King. He wasn't born as Martin Luther King. His born name was Michael King. He
Ding.
named himself his father, or he named himself Martin Luther King after Martin Luther, who I believe was, I could be mistaken, but was a Protestant. So when you look up, he was
He was
born
the
as.
creator of the Protestant church.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
when you
history
say
of Martin
Quaker, it's
Luther. He
just
took.
weird because
Martin
he was
Luther was.
named if you look up Martin Luther King, his born name was Michael King. It was
Yeah, that's a
changed
fact. His
later to
name was
Martin
Michael
Luther King.
King. That's a fact.
Right. It was changed to Martin Luther King from Martin Luther, and I
again,
believe
like
Martin Luther was a Protestant.
like I just said, y'all you Israelite and she Muslim, so of course y'all gonna bash the man because he ain't under y'all shit.
Okay, but that's irrelevant right now. Nobody's really talking about that right now. That's what you want to bring up because you're desperate. Like, dude, we're just trying to explain why he was a pacifist. That's it. Everybody's just trying to get a better understanding in proper context why Michael King, aka Martin Luther, was a goddamn pacifist, bro. That's it. I mean, give me a fucking break, bro.
We're not bashing.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Now,
wrong with
Muslim ain't got nothing
actually.
to do with it because somebody like
Yeah.
Khalid Muhammad, who's a Muslim, I like Khalid Muhammad. I like Malcolm. Uh, it ain't got nothing to do with religion. It just has to do with the movement itself, and then what he himself said. He
Thank
said it was
you.
fucked up.
Yo,
Thank
I'll
you.
back cap up. I'll back cap up on this one. Martin Luther King was an agent. Simple as that, yo.
Oh,
Alright,
shit.
So like do y'all believe?
Wake it up, Latif. Wake it
Yeah,
up.
I knew
Wait,
it.
he
I
was a
just found
what?
an
An
agent.
article.
atheist?
Think about it. Out of all our black
Agent.
leaders,
Agent.
out of all our black civil rights leaders, he was the only one that was able to actually call on the American government to help him.
Oh, just to go back, she said, was he an atheist? Yeah, he was an atheist too. Basically, all that shit was a prop. All that religious stuff, that was just a prop, bro, to make himself seem more esteemed to the people. But let let this brother go in for a second.
I knew
Wait,
it.
he
I
was a
just found
what?
an
An
article.
atheist?
Think about it. Out of all our black
Agent.
leaders,
Agent.
out of all our black civil rights leaders, he was the only one that was able to actually call on the American government to help him out when he was in the jam. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was able to call the vice president directly. Like, I'm just saying, like, nobody else got all these streets named after them. Nobody else got a national holiday. He was an agent. You know what I'm saying? And he did his job.
Yep.
He integrated America,
Yep.
and black businesses and black communities failed after that.
Yep.
I just had this long talk with my 80 something, almost 90-year-old grand auntie. And she was just saying, because, you know what I'm saying, my family got all that property in South Carolina. So I really wanted to dig into her and find out, like, yo, what was it like back in the day? And she was like, yeah, it was a lot of
I was
racism,
just
but
saying
the
that.
white people stayed on their side and we stayed on our side. And that was
Absolutely.
that.
And
We
y'all
built up our
built.
communities, they
Yep.
built up theirs.
Yep. I was just saying that, Latif, like during that time, the black community was together, even with the same problems we got today, but the black community was not what it was today.
So to your opinion, Cap, or in anybody really, not just Cap, but like y'all think that the black community is in a worse position now than they was in 19, let's say 40?
Absolutely.
In its entirety, absolutely. Now we have some individuals who have made it out and done very well for themselves, but as a whole,
i.e., he sold his soul. Yeah. Shout out to shout out to Spiritual Soul. Where that nigga at? Where is Spiritual Soul at when you need him? The nigga's a bot. I was kidding. Oh shit.
absolutely, because you got to remember where we was coming from back then. We had to provide our own distribution pipelines from the rooter all the way to the tutor. Now that we are integrated, we don't have to actually own an oil field. We could just go to the gas station because, you know what I'm saying, we could all pump gas from the same pump now. You know what I'm saying? But before, we would have had to figure out how to source the gas, get it to the black community, get it to our black gas stations, and service it to our people. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, once you start building that up, you build in your whole infrastructure, your community from your supply chain. You know what I'm saying? So
And
when you don't have
generational
that
wealth
no
and
more,
all of
you don't
that.
have that no more. You constantly relying on somebody else to be able to fulfill that.
And
But
fucking
look,
up the
look here.
generational wealth and all types of shit. Damn.
And there's another side. That's why they burned Black Wall Street to the ground,
That was
because
my
that
next
represented the
point.
blueprint on how you do it. And the family, the most important thing to any community is the family. And there was no longer a family. There's no longer a family that existed. What I mean by family, when you grew up in the neighborhoods back then, everybody knew each other, everybody watched each other, everybody took care of each other. We wasn't as violent to each other. It wasn't drug infested. It wasn't what it is today. And we lost that as well because they started separating. They started putting tactics in place to separate the black man from the black woman. Um, Black men started becoming selfish. It's a lot. So we was way better back then, and we suffered the same problem. So we still go through getting locked up, getting harassed by police, getting this and that, and we suffered the same thing back then. But we was united. We understood who the enemy was. We worked with them the same way we try to work with them now. But we knew our family was our own. Like Latif said, we had our cities, they had their cities. It just wasn't corrupt like it is.
Okay, when you look
I
at
just
like,
found
go
something.
ahead, Tommy.
So I just typed in Martin Luther King Quaker, and I found out that Bayard was actually a pacifist Quaker Christian, and that a lot of like the rhetoric that Martin Luther King took from Bayard was that of the pacifist movement, which is like they specifically believe a person who believes in war and violence is unjustifiable. That's why they're pacifists. They're strongly against that. They're all for peace, love, and positivity, and all violence is like wrong. Hence why Martin Luther King was an avid for that. So it turns out that he took a lot of the Quaker. He was a part of the Quaker organization. Yeah, it's not. It has nothing to do with like homosexuality or like the LGBT community. It's a sect of Christianity that's strict.
Allegedly, because if that's the case, why would Bayard Rustin be there? Why would a known homosexual like Bayard Rustin be in any religion that allegedly associates themselves with biblical matters? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? Because they're nonviolent. The scriptures clearly tells you, was it? Hold on. I'm probably going to just I didn't want to have to do that, but I'm probably going to have to just read because I don't want to have to go through that bullshit again. Of you know what? Let me see if I can do it. Let me see. If I can't do it, I can't do it. Let me see if I can pull it up. I really don't want to have to go through that bullshit again. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. Let me go back. Let me at least go back to the video real quick. But I'll just do it myself. I'll just read it. The reason why he don't want it, but the reason why he's part of that type of religion, because last time I checked, was it Leviticus 18:22? You shall not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. And then what is it? Leviticus 20. 20 and 13? Yep. If man lies with a male as he lies with a female, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them or on their hands. So it only makes sense why he's a quote unquote Quaker quote unquote Christian, where the fuck that even means. But that's why, because he can be basically a quote unquote Christian without having to adhere to the laws and judgments of the Most High, just like all Christians do anyway. So it only makes sense why he's why Bayard Rustin, while being a part of that Rainbow Coalition, is also a Quaker. I mean, he's also a Quaker, quote unquote Christian, wherever the fuck that even means. But anyway,
strictly believes in violence is unjustifiable. And I think that he took a lot from that. And apparently he was a part of the Quaker organization as well. But he specifically was Baptist. Specifically, he identified as Baptist, but
wherever that
and
means.
did take a lot from the Quaker organization.
So this Rustin or whoever guy that you said he was influenced by, I mean, is it just what he believed in, or was it somebody that influenced him to be nonviolent? Cat. Oh, he went on the phone. So Tommy, you're saying that was his belief, and that's why he was nonviolent.
Yeah, that was his belief. Like the birth of the Quaker movement actually started, I think, during, I don't quote me, maybe the Revolutionary War, could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of white people down in like the eastern part of America, Midwest part of America, specifically the Virginias and the North Carolinas and South Carolinas, that were against the war, right? And they all, because, I mean, of course, for obvious reasons, but there was a huge influx of people during the wars, whether that was a Revolutionary War, that were strongly against it, that protest against it. So that's why they became Quakers, and there was a huge like sect of people. And then eventually the Quaker religion.
Yeah, what happened to the bitch?
I don't even know, but okay, so he was a pacifist, and I guess that's why.
Baptist part of Christianity.
Yeah, my question, I don't know, Cap, is Cap back? Cap, you out there?
No, he gone. He gone.
I'm gonna wait for bro to get back.
Oh, Brock, all your little dreams. You said we got a debate on this.
Yeah, because I got one more point. Like, not.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
Debating with him to be real. I'm just asking him questions because I respect his opinion. But like,
hey, I'm back.
Yeah, so Cap, so like when you was talking about black people building back in those time periods, like, and I was gonna bring up Black Wall Street, those type of communities like Tulsa and shit like that, they would still marginalize us and shut our shit down because we in their country at the end of the day. Like, so we had to like, I don't believe in assimilation. I'm kind of with you with the separation type, because I think that's best for black people. But we did have to assimilate to some degree so we can actually be able to thrive in their country with their rules. Because even if we did go build our own shit, they'll literally come and bomb that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
What they were supposed to do though? They were supposed to stay fighting though. That Black Wall, you know how long it took it? You know how Wack always talk about how fast a dollar leaves out? It took a year for the dollar to leave
in Black
out.
Wall Street.
In Black Wall, either a year or 6 months. Yeah, in Black Wall Street. That's the reason why they burnt it down, because black people, you gotta remember during that time, black people were considered apes, ignorant, dumb, stupid, etc. like that. The first airstrip was in Black Wall Street, period. Hospital, banks, homes, cities, anything that you can imagine was built. That was like the fucking, that's the reason why they even call it Black Wall Street, is because of how economically sound it was. Can you imagine if that shit existed for like 10, 20, 30 years, and how it would inspire and give a blueprint to other black cities to do? That's why they burned it down. And then you got the pacifists that come after that and say, okay, we don't want to fight. But since y'all gonna burn our cities down, maybe we'll try non-violent and you won't burn our cities down, but they did the same exact shit. If you look at Martin's whole premise, it shows you just how violent the so-called white man is, because he still killed that nigga, even though he was not trying to harm him.
Hey Cap, I got a question. I'm a little late. I hear y'all breaking it down. So are you saying that the civil rights movement was a failure?
Yes.
Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's my position.
And you don't think that we putting a new world, a new age type of perspective on an old school problem? You know what I mean? I know you debate a lot, so you know what an anachronism is. So we take our values from today and act like those people knew what we knew or thought what we thought 60, 70 years ago. They didn't have access to the things that we have now information-wise. Like we would make much better decisions, but that wasn't accessible to us. Education, none of that. You understand? So we didn't even know that we didn't know. Does that make sense? So it's
I
hard
think
to
I
put.
was saying that earlier. That's why I think towards the end, Martin said he felt he was leading his people to a burning house.
What
The problem is that even during that time, he did realize that it was wrong, but nobody. And I rolled with Latif a little bit on this part too, and he was like the MLK agent perspective, because what happened after that is nobody talks about how he said that was a failure, that he was leading us into a burning house. You don't go into a burning house to live, you go into a burning house to die.
Ding.
So what
Well,
we
to
were
be fair,
supposed to do,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I'm with
You
you.
said to be fair?
Yeah, to be fair, that was a kind of like a Monday morning quarterback assessment. You know, it's clear after something happens.
No,
but
but
I'm not
Martin did say it though. There's other
No,
speeches
you're
that you
right.
can.
Listen to me.
Okay,
Listen
go
to me.
ahead.
I'm
Right,
saying
right.
like after you lose a game and you look back at the third quarter and be like, damn, we should have ran that play. Like it was
Right.
kind of like that. You get what I'm saying, right? So
I
it was
do,
clear.
but you know what they do? But you know what
GOD.
they do when they say they should have ran that play? They come up with a new play.
No, I'm with you.
They
I'm
come
not
up with a new
disagreeing with
strategy.
you, Cat.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to
But so
say.
what I'm
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, all I was saying is because I had a lot of folks involved in that, like my elders and grandmother, and I was fortunate enough.
My grandparents too.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to have to sit at their feet and understand the full story, and as I'm sure you had as well. But I'm not going to take away everything that those people sacrificed, and a lot of people died and marched and all type of things. And I'm not going to take that all away and act like they didn't accomplish things. So that's the only thing I really having trouble with, for us to 60 years later say they failed when we're sitting here on an app with all type of options and education and choices that we can make to better ourselves, and a lot of us do, and a lot of that wouldn't have been possible. So it's kind of like disingenuous to sit here and say they failed.
Okay, number one, that's a lie. That we still wouldn't have had great options, because once again, Tazariak already pointed out, so-called black people were inventing great inventions ad nauseum at a very high rate, but so-called Caucasians were stealing it from them. So to say that so-called black people with the type of minds and resources that we had up until the 50s and the 60s couldn't have created great levels of technology with great social media apps on it and things of that nature to help us interact with one another and help continue to build businesses is just a lie, and you're selling your own people short. You're doing that. Now, what I'm about to say is not about to sell those people short. It's just a fact. They didn't accomplish a goddamn thing, and all those people died in vain. Period. Anybody that has offense to what I just said, I don't give a shit. All right. I did not ask you what you like. It's just the facts. The civil rights movement is one of the biggest satanic movements of the past 100 years. It didn't empower so-called black people at all. It turned us into a bunch of wimps and chumps. Okay? Once again, all of those people that were involved in the civil rights movement, well, that were not agents, allegedly. All of those people accomplished nothing, and they all died in vain. Period. End of story.
Failed, but we're sitting here talking about it freely, and we still got a lot of things. Hold on, I'm almost done. Hold on, I'm gonna land. We still got a whole lot of things to overcome, but we have a lot more access to information and opportunity than we've ever had. Should it be more? Yes, but to act like there's none would be, you know what I mean, would kind of be like heavy-handed, and that's just my opinion. But go ahead, Kat.
Brother, prophecy already stated that we would have access to more information. Wisdom and knowledge shall increase, brother. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about to say that you're just trying to associate that with the will of man. No, that's the will of the Most High, that we would have access to more information. Now, granted, through the means is done, how that get manifested would have looked differently. And that's the whole point. So-called black people would have been the manifestation of the lot of information and access to knowledge that we have now. They would have been the platforms, the tools of that access of information. Instead, the so-called Caucasians had to be that kind of like that portal, that opening up of that door. So it is what it is, but it's all prophecy in that sense. But just to speak more so from a terrestrial perspective, all those people failed. They didn't accomplish a goddamn thing. Okay. They left so-called black people high and dry, consciously or subconsciously. So it is what it is.
But we lost it. We lost a lot to where we have to actually gain more. We have to fix more. Like being able to communicate electronically the way that we are would happen regardless, because
thank you, sir.
They had cars back then, they had stores back then, they had, like Latif said, gas station, all that shit back then. The big difference was it was our shit.
Thank
it
you.
wasn't they shit.
Thank you.
Now,
I'm from Philly, so it doesn't, that story doesn't quite jive. Maybe it's a regional thing, maybe in the South they had, or the West, I don't know. But in Philly, it wasn't that wasn't the case, bro.
Right.
Like, we had a lot of, hold on.
Actually, I wouldn't say that if I were you, but whatever.
We had a lot of, hold on. We had a lot of.
Nah, you actually asked me to give it to you.
I didn't ask. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Cat. Go ahead, Cat.
I appreciate it, brother. So what I'm saying is that when I'm saying that we lost, like from that, them strategic attacks. So Martin says that dream was a failure. Nobody made any adjustments to modify how it should be. And right after that, you strategically saw the household destroyed. We don't have a black household. The major difference between us today and our people back then is that they were more galvanized to be able to be gathered together because they was already together.
Thank you.
We're not together because we're so integrated.
Yeah.
We're so integrated that now people more so look at the vices we have as opposed to the community that we don't have.
Thank you.
So I think the fight is harder now than it was back then because we don't even have a community.
Now you from Jersey, right? I'm from Philly.
Yeah,
you from
Jersey,
New York,
right.
Jersey, like, right? So
Jersey, I'm from Jersey.
Jersey, okay. So my pushback is this though, Cat. Coming out of that civil rights movement, right? The deterioration of the black family would have happened mid to late 80s when I was small. Like with the crack, not small, but like with the crack era and everything like that had nothing to do with Martin Luther King or the civil rights movement.
Bullshit.
That I think that was a response to the success and the optimism that came out of that movement.
No, it's not. What are you talking about, bruh? What is it? The Great Society, the Great Society Act, the Civil Rights Bill of, I believe, 1965, brother. All those things allowed the government to have full dominion over the so-called black community, as what the Democratic Party wanted from agents like Martin Luther King to achieve. What the fuck is this man talking about, bruh? All of that shit leads to the so-called black feminist movement of the 70s, which led to the crack epidemic of the fucking 80s, which led to the crime bill era of the 90s, or the war on crime era of the 90s. What is this man talking about, bruh? I'm from Philly. We didn't really experience that. Well, nigga, for the most part, the civil rights movement was in the South. So, of course, you didn't experience that head on. Dunce cap. That doesn't mean that none of the shit that we're stating here, or that Tazaryak stated here, is valid. It doesn't invalidate none of that just because your ass was in Philly. Stupid ass.
They had to ratchet it up, and you know what they did. Everybody on this floor is well aware of what came into our communities at that point, and I witnessed it, and it was unbelievable. So that doesn't have anything. If it had happened in 69 or 68, right when he passed, or right, but no, you understand what I'm saying? We still have
the same thing.
Okay, well, I can't attribute. Hold on, what I'm just saying. I'm a land. I apologize,
okay,
Cat. Give me 30 seconds. All I'm saying is this.
And then I just want to respond to him, and then the brother could go. No, you go.
Oh yeah.
I just want to.
Oh yeah. Only 20 seconds. But what I'm saying is, I can't attribute that to a failure of the civil rights movement. It's more like, damn, now these people believe they can get something done. Look at the family. The family structure was strong.
No, it wasn't.
And then you know what era came. I land there though.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
No, but we're really saying the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I said after Martin What I'm saying is, after Martin says that that plan was wrong, the leaders that came after him didn't adjust the plan, and they didn't pay attention to the vices that was coming around the stuff that you said. I'm in full agreement with. So now they was able to devise something else to further separate us. And the minute that you try to stand up and be militant, I have mentioned the Muslims, the Panthers, they would use Martin as the litmus test for what black people should be, which is a pacifist. And we couldn't be militant and be strong. And then we was allowed to be infiltrated. And so then you start seeing the deterioration. By the time the 80s came, it was a wrap. We really ain't been the same since the 80s. So
Right. Hey, Cap,
Hey,
real quick.
Cap. I think your
I
best
did,
example.
Hold on, Chief, real quick.
That's
Let
a
me
fact.
squeeze.
no, wait, because
Hold on.
Latif was trying to get in
Yeah,
before. So
Yeah.
get in there.
Cap. Your best example is what they did with HBCU. So everybody knows that in our community or in any community to thrive, you need about 4 or 5 major pieces of infrastructure, right? You need your own education system, your own banking system, your own farming system. You know what I'm saying? Your own hospital system, of course, for Medicare and all that other stuff. And then is one more system that you really need in place to solidify your infrastructure as a community, right? And if you think about all those infrastructures, every single one of them have failed. We have probably like a handful of black banks left, and our HBCUs are basically on a cliffhanger right now. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
That educational system that we established as far as on a collegiate level is probably the last stronghold that we have, you know what I'm saying, as a black community. And we see that our HBCUs are struggling and closing down every day. But that is a clear example. That institution, when you look at institutions and what black people own institutionally, you know what I'm saying, the HBCU example is probably the best example that you gave so far that we can actually visualize, because we still have HBCUs to this day, and we actually see the state disarray that they're in as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we don't even have any of those other institutions to even draw from, you know what I'm saying, even make examples from. So that is the only thing we have left, and they're struggling. So that's the clear example that the move to integrate, you know what I'm saying, wasn't the best, because at one time we had many more HBCUs, you know what I'm saying. So that might have been the most the clearest example you could have gave that we can tangible example that we can actually put our eyes on, feel, and touch to this day.
Right. And that's inspirational, Latif, because like my daughter, because like my daughter, you know, she made it her business to tell me that's the only college she wanted to go to. And I sent her, I think it's Morgan State. I always get them confused. I said Morehouse in the interview one time. I think that's an all-boy college. But yeah, I sent her to Morgan State because she wanted to go to a HBCU. So that is the one of the best examples you can get.
Yeah, that's the last stronghold we got. Is that I graduated from the
Real
HBCU, so yeah, I know firsthand. Like that's the last stronghold we got as far as what we established prior to integration. You know what I'm saying? Prior to integration, we don't have any other industry that we established prior to integration that's still surviving right now. We don't.
Correct.
I think I don't know. I have a hard time bashing Martin Luther King 60 years later.
Yeah, because you fight for equality like the rest of these idiots on this panel, except for like 3 of y'all.
One, I think what we're forgetting is Martin Luther King's plan was to fight for civil rights, the right to go where you want, the right to use public transportation, the right that a white man can't just come up in your house and beat the shit out of you for no reason without him going to jail, being arrested.
Okay, but the average so-called Caucasian was not doing that back then. So what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, seriously, this is the epitome of what happens when you don't know real history. The so-called Caucasian and so-called black people were, for the most part, separate from each other. They did not even deal with each other half the time. The only time issues came awry was when they were trying to integrate. Whatever.
Whatsoever, the right to do it was about rights, and we achieved those rights, and that led into integration. What happened after integration, and he did make the statement that he had felt that he had led, that his dream was becoming a nightmare, and that he had led us into a burning building. But that was in hindsight, like I think it was Dale said, that was sitting on the couch quarterbacking the next day.
Right.
when a lot of what we're doing blaming Martin Luther King is our fault as a race, because other races come here and use the rights that Martin Luther King fought for, and they work it perfectly. Whether it's what they utilize integration that he fought for, and they also stick to their own, support their own businesses. And then when that can't go any further, then they go ahead and they branch out, and then they bring that money back to their community. That's not Martin Luther. That's because of Martin Luther King that they're able to do that. It is not Martin Luther King's fault that we as Black folks do not do that, that we continue spending our money with Nike and everything else that we do. So to sit and 60 years later and say Martin Luther King was at fault when he even said, as was quoted, that I've led my people into a burning building, but didn't get a chance to steer them away from that building, I think is that's kind of faulty.
That's where I was at.
Yeah, because they knocked him off because they were done with him. You big doof. But you know, whatever. Our people gonna find out the real truth about these people and how this life is. What did COJ call it? The real life Truman Show. You gonna find out in the end that a lot of this shit was just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. So it is what it is with niggas like him.
We're the only.
Yeah,
Hold
but
on,
you
let me
know,
say,
as
Thrower,
Martin
you
Luther
kind
King,
of contradicted your own point, Thrower. You
there's no way I did. Hold on.
Nah, he made a good.
He said, "There's no way I did." Very egotistical answer, sir.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me finish, because we're the only race that will sit on a public platform in front of a million other races and disparage our own and our own leaders. We're the only ones that does that.
Well, okay, but we're the only people who have to have leaders like that placed in front of, given to us by society. We're the only people that have to do that. All the other people, they appoint their own leaders. We did not appoint Martin Luther King. We didn't appoint the SCLC. We didn't do any of that. They just popped up. We were told that they're leaders, and everybody went with it. So what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway.
That
my
shit.
point.
I don't get
That
it.
was my point
I don't
initially.
understand it. You look at what we've done wrong from that dream, and then let's push on from there. Because when it's all said and done, there is no other leader, and probably never will be. This whole leadership thing, we're beyond looking for one single leader. It's not going to happen again. It's time for us as individuals to get up and do what
it never happened in the first place. That's your problem.
We know is right and support our people. No other race needs a leader in America except for Black folks.
Hey,
you know what though, Thrower? When someone comes up with a plan for Black people, nobody supports it.
Hey, Thrower,
support your own household.
Point, Thrower, because you said
How did I do
that
that?
other cultures.
Was that Martin Luther King?
You said that other cultures, when they utilize the benefits that Martin Luther King put in place, right? And then you said that they work with each other and build up their own community, and then they branch out and do business with other communities. So that's the main point that me and Cap is trying to drive, is that eventually, if we would have just built up our community and we never would have integrated, they would have had to do business with us anyway.
So let me explain to you why that's not a contradiction. Hold on, let me explain to you why that's not a contradiction.
Hold on, wait a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Let me finish. They would have had to do.
That's right. That's dead right on the money. They would have had to do business, i.e., they would have had to clean. They would have to clean themselves onto the house of Jacob, right? Because the house of Jacob would have had all the resources and all the abilities to sustain life in the first place. That cleaning would have happened then. But of course, due to prophecy, no. Or due to the Most High's timing of certain prophecies being fulfilled, that, that wasn't going to be the case. Obviously, because we're still in Babylon the Great, or globally, we're still in Babylon, or reinvigorated Rome. But it is what it is. But just from a basic perspective, he's dead right on the money. If we were just chosen to continue to build on our own, they would have had no other choice but to cling on to us, which would have allowed us to branch out to other nations within reason. From a power perspective instead of from an equality perspective, which is not real in the fucking first place. But anyway.
To do business with us anyway, but we didn't even give it a shot for us to build our businesses all the way up. The only thing we was trying to do was say, hey, white man, we trying to sit in the same building with you. Even if you hit us on top of our head and spit on us, we still gonna try to fight to get in there. That's what we did. We didn't just say, you know what, fuck y'all, we just gonna build our stuff up. And then when you trying to sell your product to the black community, you're gonna have to do business with us and come over here and shake hands because you trying to sell your product to us now. Or we trying to sell our product to you. So now it's a barter system. Now you got to negotiate with us and you got to meet us on level. The same way they have to do with every other community that comes here and builds up their community from the ground up. And they put a stronghold on whatever industry they got. So now the white man got to come over and say, hey, I can't be racist to the Asian man, to the Arab man. I can't be racist to them, even though they probably feel that way. But they got to do business because why? They running their sector of business. So I'm just saying, you contradicted your point. Just
I'm gonna explain to you why there's no
saying
contradiction
that
in
it was
it.
all about integration when you clearly stated that the reason why these other races are winning, even though they're utilizing the benefits of Martin Luther King, but the reason why they're winning is because they focus on what they have to do as a community. We had an opportunity to do that ourselves. Actually, we were forced to do it by law. You know what I'm saying?
So,
and guess what? We fought to break that down and try to eat with them.
So I'm gonna explain to you why there's no contradiction in what I was saying. Business eats. It don't see race. It eats. So you have to control it. It's just like a fire. It's always going to be hot. You either make it big or you make it small. We have to control it. So when we have a black business, and if we had done it correctly, and we have and now all of a sudden we've got all these rights, we're able to integrate. But now we're sticking and we're supporting our black-owned businesses, our black-owned communities. But let's say I'm selling shoes. My community is behind me. I'm hiring nobody but the people in my community. My community, the whole street, the whole block, the whole city, the whole county is rocking the shoes that I design. Guess what? We're limited in numbers. So now all of a sudden this white dude says, hey, I want to go into that black store and I want to buy some of those shoes. Now we making that white money, that Asian money, that Mexican money. But guess what? I'm still taking it and using it in my community, going back to black businesses, supporting our people. I'm not just making shoes. I'm buying your socks that you make as a black man. You get what I'm saying? So all businesses are going to have to go out beyond what their little area is in order for them to maintain full success. So that's what I mean by other races.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Now, if they want to get more success, especially on a global type of level, yes, you're going to have to branch out to do that. But it all depends on what your goals are. There are plenty of small businesses around here that just deal with the community that they're in, the local area that they're in, and they make more than enough money to sustain the people that work there, whatever their lives are. They make more than enough money to sustain that. They never turn themselves into like this corporate global franchise. They never do that. Now, granted, if they choose to, then that's their prerogative. But there are plenty of small businesses that never do that. They've been around for plenty of years, plenty of decades, and they've never done that. So I don't know what the hell this nigga's talking about.
Come here and they build up their communities in many ways, but then they also use integration to their advantage because guess what? If I'm making Chinese food in my area and then all of a sudden I start selling, whites start coming to my store, now I'm getting their money also, but I'm still spending it in my area. That is why so many other races are successful here, and that is why we're not. We haven't even got to that step. We're at the first step of just trying to get us to support our own. But you can't blame that on Martin Luther King. You got to blame that on us. That's us. He saw how he was misleading us, but some of it wasn't just him misleading us. It was us being so happy to be in somewhere white that we forgot to do our own shit. And you can't blame him for that, especially when he acknowledges it and never got the chance to turn it back around.
Last point.
And again, we're the only race that jumps on a fucking public platform in front of a bunch of other races and tears down somebody 60 years later through all their little imperfections. But
what do you mean in front of a bunch of other races? I mean, last time I checked, I see nothing but niggas in this clubhouse meeting. For the most part, it's going to be nothing but niggas that watch this video. What the hell is this man talking about, bro? This nigga's just talking. Like, man, be practical about this. How many people from different races is watching a fucking clubhouse meeting? I believe this is like Whack 100's clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken, featuring Tazariak. I mean, give me a fucking. Quit being stupid. Like, ain't nobody. All these people from different races ain't checking this shit out on fucking YouTube and shit. Like, knock it off.
But nobody wants to admit that ain't nobody else getting us the same rights, or all these other races,
We
from
ain't got no
races
rights,
to
man.
gays. Nobody
What
else is
rights?
getting that for anybody else.
Yo,
no
I'm glad you
movement
said
gonna
that
take no
last
ass
point,
whooping
thrower.
like
Hold on,
this.
thrower. I'm glad you said that last point, right? Because you said that we are so happy, you know what I'm saying, to go and I forget the exact words you used. We're so happy
just to be able to walk into that white
all right, to be able to walk in.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. To be able to walk into that white location, right? That is the psychological effect that was played on the black community behind Martin Luther King's movement.
In
Thank you,
hindsight.
sir.
Hold
No,
on, wait a minute. Because we were willing to get spat on.
In reality, that's not hindsight. That is in big picture reality. That type of mentality comes from them civil rights jackasses of the goddamn mid 50s to mid 60s. Okay. That's where that mentality comes from. Because before that, the average so-called black person was not thinking like that. So if we're going to blame ourselves, we have to blame ourselves regardless of generation. We don't get to excuse them whack ass niggas of the 50s and 60s, but at the same time, we don't get to excuse the niggas of the 50s and 60s as a way of trying to put the blame all on ourselves. It's like, nigga, the ignorance runs generations deep. So I don't want to hear that, bruh. What you just said makes no sense. We have to blame ourselves, but then we can't blame former generations of ourselves as well. You really think this mentality just started 20 years ago? Idiot.
And beaten on just to say that we could go in a white man's store, just to say that we could drink from the white man's fountain. See, the problem is that they made
back
on the black community behind Martin Luther King. Okay, exactly. To be able to walk into that white location, right? That is the psychological effect that was played on the black community behind Martin Luther King's movement.
In hindsight.
Hold on, wait a minute. Because we were willing to get spat on and beaten on just to say that we could go in a white man's store, just to say that we could drink from the white man's fountain. See, the problem is that they made us think that everything that was white was right, and that it was better than what we had. That was the psychological effect of Martin Luther King's movement. See, this is the problem that we're talking about. So now we have a problem convincing people that anything that's black owned or black made is superior to anything, because we've already been brainwashed to think that everything on the other side is better than ours. So that's the psychological effect that we're not even talking about here, that movement has caused on us, and it's still affecting us to this very single day. You know what
But
I'm
I
saying?
think we are talking about it. And I think that's what he was talking about when he said
I want to make
burning
a
the
clear
house.
example. I want to make a clear example about other cultures. All right, we could talk about Mexican culture. We could talk about Asian culture. Have you ever been inside a Mexican supermarket or an Asian supermarket? You probably wouldn't even shop there. You'll go in there and be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, I wouldn't even.
I've been in them many times. My wife makes tamales, so I've been in them many times.
Wait a minute. I done walked in these Asian supermarkets, right? And I done looked at, like how they keep certain stuff on the shelf, and I'd be like, damn, I would never shop here. I would, unless I'm getting something specific that, I can only get from them, right? So now it forces me to shop there. But outside of that, I would necessarily not shop there. But their community is going to support their stores no matter what. You can't tell their community that their supermarket is inferior to the white man's supermarket. Why? Because they're specifically supporting their supermarket, because something that they're looking for that's specific to their culture, that's the only place that they can find it. And that's what we should have focused on more than anything. That's what we're trying to say, is that eventually, if the white man wanted to get some fucking good collard greens and mac and cheese and yams, he would have had to come over to the other side of the tracks, bro. You know what I'm saying?
paying your check.
But we was building an identity
because
then,
we
bro.
would have built it up to that point. But the fact that we felt
we were building an identity. What identity is that? Black? The fuck is that? That's a real identity to you, sir? A fucking color that don't represent nothing about you? Jackass.
felt like our shit wasn't good enough and we had to go over there to where it was better, it caused a whole psychological backlash to where now we don't think our stuff is good enough and we only want the shit from over there.
Hold on.
But
I think we're saying the same thing though.
We're saying the same thing though.
Yeah.
But for his movement and what he did, niggas ain't finna take no ass whoopers for that. Niggas ain't finna get bit by no dogs. Niggas ain't finna get
because they're gonna fight back. They're not gonna be a pacifist. That's the point.
Niggas
They
ain't
take
finna
the ass whipping on purpose.
They take that ass whippers, but niggas ain't finna
On purpose.
Niggas ain't finna take them ass whippers and niggas ain't finna ride. So they ain't finna do nothing. Niggas is finna do a lot of fat mouths.
Yeah,
just for him.
Let me get in there.
They finna take them ass whippers and niggas ain't finna slide. So we gotta be like we really gotta be real with ourselves. Like, okay, as far as like what he did, like we like you say, we can Monday morning quarterback. We had what he did about this and that. Now there's hell of other shit that causes the reason where we're at. But we can't just say, okay, yeah, it's all because of him. It was this, it was that. Like, come on, that's some bullshit. Because ain't nobody for what the movement he had. He died for that shit. You niggas ain't ready to die for y'all movements. Niggas, I mean, a lot of times niggas ain't finna take no ass whippers for that. Niggas ain't finna.
Okay, first off, number one, he died in vain. I don't give a shit who don't like that. Shut your bitch ass up. I ain't asked you what you like. That's number one. Number two, we've already acknowledged on multiple occasions that he basically flipped the script by the time of his death. He had basically flipped the script on his non-violent, taking ass whoopings on purpose, bullshit ass, sweet ass movement of his. So what the fuck did he die for? What movement did he die for? Did he die for that pacifist Marxist ass movement of the mid 50s to the mid 60s, or did he really die for that extreme militant communist type movement of the late 60s? Which one was it? He died for his shit, man. He died in vain. His stupid ass died in vain. How about that? Dumbass nigga.
Finna get slapped.
Haven't died.
Hey man, niggas risk. Listen, man, we go out on them streets and risk our lives every day. So I really ain't trying to hear that.
Nah, you're not risking your life, bro. Hold on.
Wait.
Hey, Cardiz is 100% right, but hold on, you're not risking your life like they was risking their life, bro.
Now you making a comparison. Now
yeah, hold on. Because hold on, hold on. Everybody talking this pro-black shit is doing it from a safe place.
What
if it wasn't for Martin Luther King,
pro-black. Well, hey, I'll let Tazariak defend himself on that pro-black notion, but our way we don't do that shit this way. Ain't nobody be no damn pro-black. That's for idiots. Being pro-black is for color worship and jackasses. We don't worship colors over here. So he's only speaking to Tazariak, so I'll let him defend that. Anyway,
hey, hold on. If it wasn't for Martin Luther King, you would not be able to do it. Niggas was really dying. You niggas ain't getting bit by no dogs, sprayed by water hoses. You're not going through none of that shit. You doing it. You talking shit from a safe place. Not what you saying.
So we're smarter than Martin Luther King? Is that what you're trying to say? Once again, Psalms 83. Real quick, Psalms 83. Real quick. Psalms 83, verse 3. I'll read in the regular King James real quick. Psalms 83, verse 3. When it's talking about the other nations have taken crafty counsel. They, who is they? The other nations. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, who? The nation of Israel, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Keep in mind, hidden. Okay? Let's get some other scriptures referring to hidden. Proverbs, I believe 22. Is it 20? Oh, not 27. It should be 22. Yep. Proverbs 22, verse 3. A prudent man, mean what? Someone who is vigilant, balanced. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, i.e., what? Becomes a hidden one. Right? Anyway, but the simple pass on and are punished. Okay? Verse 4, by humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. Okay? Thorns and snares are in the way of the forward, or is it forward? Okay. But he that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them. Okay? Meaning what? You have to hide yourself. You have to chill out. All that boisterous, trying to stick out your neck for all these dumbass movements and shit, that shit is for the birds, man. They trying to spiritually smoke motherfuckers out. If this is spiritual warfare, which means you have to fight these things way more internally than externally. Okay? That's the whole point. So I don't know what he's talking about. I'll see if I can find the other one. What's the other one? Hour of Temptation. Hour of Temptation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Let's see. Oh, this is the Revelation. Revelation 3. Let me make sure I get this right. So Revelation, move. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Revelation 3. I'll start at verse 7. And to the angel of the church of Philadelphia, write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth, and no man can shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth. It's talking about Christ, the Mashiach, Yahushai. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee. Here's the kicker right here, verse 10. Because thou hast kept my word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take my crown. Him that overcometh, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, my power, who is the heavenly Father, Yahweh, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. Now, of course, churches means congregation of Israelites. Okay, y'all brothers in the knowledge, you guys know this already. But I just want to get the point of verse 10, which is a spiritual cross reference to the other precepts, Psalms 83 verse 3, Proverbs 22 verses I believe verses 3-7, if I'm not mistaken, what I just read. It's a cross reference to that. You don't get out here and start talking about civil rights movements and all these other bullshit ass movements led by fucking communist agents. No. You keep the Most High's commandments, you keep the testimonies of Christ, and you hide yourself. Meaning what? You chill the fuck out. This is a game of chess, not fucking checkers. You have to wait. Vengeance is with the Lord, as in what? Romans, I believe Romans is 16th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Vengeance is with the Lord, not with you. Okay? Vengeance is with the Most High, not with you. All these dumbass civil rights movements and all this Black Lives Matter shit, that shit ain't gonna get nobody nowhere. All them niggas is retarded and they're all gonna die in vain. Just like they did back in the 60s with that bullshit ass BLM movement of the 60s. Anyway, I want to get one more real quick now that I'm thinking about it. This is one of my favorite ones. Luke 18. Luke 18, starting at verse 1. And he that spake the parable unto them to this end, that man ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was a city, a judge, which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came to him, saying, avenge me from my adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not the Most High, nor regard man, yet because the widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said to her, Yahushai, and the Lord Yahushua said to her, fear what the unjust judge saith, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? What is that referring to? Verses 1-8 is referring to Israel always trying to cling on to other nations. In this sense, Esau, which is the final satanic kingdom that we're in right now, they're always trying to cling on to Esau, who is the ultimate incarnation, physical incarnation of the devil, trying to free Israel from his adversary, which is, another way of saying Satan or Shaitan, if you will. Like, this is what we're always doing, whether it's civil rights movements, the Black Panthers, all types of shit. Whatever movement you want to use, this is what we've been doing for a long time now. Why? Because we've been indoctrinated under that bullshit Marxist philosophy that everyone must come together, that Hegelian type of mindset, which guys like Martin Luther King and all those lame ass civil rights Negroes pulled on us in the 50s and 60s, which have, from a mental and spiritual aspect, is still around today. At the end of the day, is it more than them? Absolutely. The ignorance does run generations deep, but we're talking about MLK right now. That's what the discussion is about. These niggas are so triggered because they're talking about MLK. Meanwhile, they'll tell you that it's on us. Well, where the fuck did we get it from? That's the whole point. Who are some of the people in history that we got these bullshit type mentalities from? That's the whole fucking point of this video, of whatever their clubhouse discussion was. But unfortunately, our people are so fucking stupid and so indoctrinated in this society that they'll say, oh, we need to hold ourselves accountable, but they can't look at ourselves from past generations and look at the problems that they did as actual fucking problems and say, okay, we need to dead that. We need to throw that type of shit in the trash. But that's all prophecy. Remember, what was the thumbnail of the video? I believe it was Hosea 4:6. Let me get that real quick before we go back to the video. Not Hosea 6. It should be Hosea 4. Yeah. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten thy law. Wait, see how thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, Yahweh, thy power, Yahweh. I will also forget thy children. Okay? Is that fucking simple? The reason why our people are in a such low estate is because we reject knowledge. All of these things are facts about MLK. You can, for the most part, you can easily look it up now, but yet our people want to reject this shit anyway because of what? They died for some shit. Just because you died for something doesn't make you a hero. Villains died too, motherfucker. Stupid ass.
Saying is wrong, but let's be realistic here. Come
Yeah, you
on, bro.
can't put everybody in there.
Here's
the
the other
shit
thing.
like you doing it from a safe space, that makes absolutely no sense to me. Unless you've been with me for 13 years and been seeing me in DC, New York, and the places that I've
Captain,
We're
traveled.
not
so do
talking
you
about you, though,
think
I'm
Cap.
not
We
in a
know
safe.
what you do.
I'm
yeah,
not
I'm not
making a
talking about
I'm
not you, but
First of all,
actually
I'm
no,
not
let's
making
go. We can go to you.
No, I'm
Captain.
not trying.
Here we go. Now we finna have a dick swinging contest about who's on the who's willing to stick out their chest more. Oh, let me get another one real quick. I believe it's Matthew 6. Christ was talking about these type of foolish mindsets or conversations per se. I believe it's Matthew 6. Yeah, I can do this. I can do this one. Matthew 6, starting at verse 1. Take heed that ye do not do your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou does thy alms, meaning just good things, charitable things, contributing to your people, do not sound a trumpet before thee, meaning what? Do not desperately try to bring attention to yourselves, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou does it alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thy alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Okay? It's all about being glorified by the Father. So if you sitting in the crib chilling, doing things via technology or whatever, edifying the people, first off, that's a way more efficient way of doing things in today's time, because that's how we communicate all over the world. That's number one. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that that's an issue necessarily going out into the streets, but the problem is people try to use this as a catapult to say, oh, I'm more courageous than you. No, for the most part, you're just more stupid, because you're trying to base people's spirituality or courage in their own spirituality due to how many people they want to argue with interact with face to face, if not potentially argue to the death with face to face. That's nothing. Christ clearly tells you in Matthew 7:6, do not cast what's holy onto the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine. So that shouldn't even be any of your concern for the most part. Trying to go out and stick your chest out and I'm an Israelite and I'm holy people of God and you suck. And I was like, who gives a shit? Like, that's not important, bruh. The work is done way more internally than externally. Now you can go out there and street preach, but the problem is you can't let that shit be your foundation for, oh, I put the work in, oh, I'm willing to die for this because I'm willing to stand out on a street corner. Like, nigga, that don't mean anything. Because when shit gets rough, you stand out there on that street corner, your ass might get a bullet in your head real quick. Are you prepared to do that? Most of these niggas that stay on the street corner right now ain't prepared to do that. We've seen some of these niggas, well, I guess IUIC. We've seen some of them niggas in camp getting into fights and shit with Christian churches. That shit wasn't pretty. Motherfuckers got their ass whipped. excuse me, motherfuckers got they ass with big time. Shit, had ladies taking off, had old church ladies taking off these shoes and beating them in the head with it. That shit don't sound like fun. And that's because you lack tact. You too busy trying to be in everybody's face talking about how you an Israelite and you focus on keeping the law. Well, what is it? Proverbs 3. Real quick. I could have sworn Proverbs 3. Yeah, Proverbs 3:1. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep the commandments. Meaning what? It's supposed to be a spiritual pursuit, which means these things are supposed to be done more internally than externally. So this conversation right here is about to turn into a straight dick swinging contest for no fucking reason. Oh, I've been on the streets for 13 years. How long have you been there? Well, I ain't really been there, but let's be for real. Let's be for real, bro. You ain't gonna take no bullet on the street corner. Like, who gives a shit?
Trying
You're
to make a
doing it.
comparison.
It's not personalized
Let
to
me
you,
finish.
Cap, first off.
No, but what
Yeah,
I'm saying is
what
I'm not
we're
trying
doing when
to.
we push our agendas now, we are doing it from a safe place where we have rights that protect us. Those rights
No,
came from
we've had
Martin
police. Listen,
Luther
we've had
King.
police arm themselves, surround us. I've had them take my ID, have me standing there. Like, I don't think y'all understand what y'all saying, and I'm not trying to make a
But
comparison
that's
to what
nigga
they
shit.
Hold
did.
on,
We've
one
had
mic.
all of us have
Let
I'm
been
not.
through
Kevin
that.
land. Let
I say
Kevin
about
land.
it. I say
Then you
about
go
the
to him.
police. That's not
Told you. See how this conversation been to fall right off the cliff? Like this none of this shit means anything.
nigga shit. That's not
No,
nigga
that's
shit.
what I'm
I said
saying. I've had them take my
Hey,
ID and
let
surround
him
me. Like
land,
that.
not for
Thor.
teaching. Not for teaching. Wait. You ain't had them take it for standing on the front line for black people. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about getting pulled over by no police. I'm talking about when we go out on that street and teach and be attacked, whether it be by our own people or whether it be by the police saying we can't be there. You ain't been there. You ain't had them have the FBI screaming out the FBI, the police come out with their
FBI.
M16 surround us, and my general standing there saying we don't give a fuck about your guns. You ain't
Uh-oh. Was that a fraudulent slip there? Once again, camp streams coming soon. That nigga said FBI. Oh man, this is too much.
you ain't been there. So stop saying that
You
we in the
can't speak for
comfortability.
everybody,
Cap,
bro.
they
Stop.
So we
can't
can't say
Wait,
drop
what's
wait.
that
I
happening
dog
just want
right
to
leash
now.
on you
finish.
no more
I just
because of
want to
Martin Luther
finish.
King.
Y'all
I'm
let him
not
land.
making it. I'm not making a comparison to who did what, but I will say they wouldn't have fucking hit us and hosed us and we wouldn't have defended ourselves. That's what Martin chose to do, and he said it was wrong. So to be on the app, it's
Exactly.
about giving proper education so
Thank
that the
you.
Monday quarterbacking that y'all talking about, if you Monday quarterbacking so that the Giants don't beat you again, you're not going to do the same play. You're not going to run the same route. You're not going to do the same thing. And those
Exactly.
leaders that came after him, the Jesse Jacksons and everybody else, did the exact same thing. Jesse Jackson, who took up the mantle after him, went from saying abortion is wrong to saying abortion is right because he
Yeah,
took
I
a
don't like
deal.
Jesse.
So again, the leadership. So now, what are we supposed to learn from that quarterback? So if I say Jesse Jackson ain't
Jesse
shit,
don't
that's
count.
cool. But I can't say Jesse do count because
Oh, Jesse don't count, even though he was literally the next in line leader after Martin Luther King died. By the way, 9 out of 10, he probably knew MLK was going to get his TV turned off that day anyway, based off of, when you understand the picture and the picture of them on the roof and on the balcony or whatever. But that's one of the topics. I don't feel like talking about this all damn day because stuff like this is just ridiculous. It's just hilarious sometimes when you hear these silly ass equality Negroes talk.
back then, again, you're about to do this the same thing that you telling me I can't do to Martin. You about to say Jesse don't count because of what you know about him now.
Ding.
So if you could say Jesse don't count, then Martin don't
Come
count
on.
He don't
because
count
even,
either.
even if you
we
want to
didn't
say
like
here's
a lot
what
of us didn't like
here's what I
Jesse
hear.
back.
Thank you, sir. Somebody said it. They were together. That's what I'm saying. So how does Martin Luther King count, but Jesse Jackson don't count? Ain't that a bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of standard you civil rights Negroes are making? Oh, I don't like Jesse, but I like Martin Luther King, even though they were in the same organization and they did the same shit. Like, come on, man. Whatever. Just give me a fucking break. Just idiots, man. Let him know, J2K. Quintuple honors. I mean, shit, man. I can't do this shit. It's just madness, man. Give me a fucking break.
Here's what I'll give you with Martin. Martin at least had the gumption to say his movement was leading us into a burning house. You don't go into a burning house to live, you go into a burning house to die. So at best, everybody that came after him that's pushing the exact same thing and is not modifying it opposite of what Martin said, did not listen to what Martin said. I listened to what Martin said,
I
and I'm
listened to
not
him
going in
too.
that
But
fucking burn.
can you
I'm
define
not
the
going in
burning
that
house,
burning
Cat?
fucking house.
Hey, you guys, he has not landed. Moderators, you guys, it's one mic on captain and thrower. Anybody else that come off their mic, please mute them. Like we're not even gonna do this morning.
So if we're gonna Monday quarterback and I yield and y'all can have the floor back then, and you're doing the same thing the coach told you is wrong, you ain't learned the lesson. I listened to what Martin said, and I'm never going to lead my people into that burning fucking house. Period. I yield. I'm
That
done. Y'all got it.
That about sums that up. And that's basically the end of that video. I mean, now at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, camp streams coming soon. So we're gonna address a lot of these camp niggas, then. But I do agree pretty much with everything that Tazariak said in this video. I mean, other than it was like I can't remember what the point was because it was something small. But other than that, I basically completely agree with him. But I just want to get something real quick. I was looking it up before the video was playing. Should still be there. What? What? No. What? Move. God damn it. All right. There we are. Come on, hurry up. I'm no damn traitor. Anyway. Let's see what we got here. Just to put this into context, this was a lady named Julia Brown. A lot of you brothers in knowledge, y'all know this already. She was an agent for the FBI or informant, blase during that mid 60s, late 60s era with Martin Luther King. And she's gonna say something, very revelatory about Martin Luther King's mindset after, more so his militant type of mentality towards the government after 1965 and things of that nature. So it's only about a minute, so we'll let her run.
Well, I say it is frightening, and it should be frightened to the entire American people that he has demanded $10 billion. And if he doesn't get it, then there may be riots this summer. Martin Luther King.
Damn, $10 billion. Martin Luther King, boy, that nigga was trying to hold the government ransom. I mean, damn. MLK, something else.
Demanded $10 billion.
10 billion.
And if he doesn't get it, then there may be riots this summer. Martin Luther King is nothing but a blackmailer, and he should be arrested for blackmailing because he certainly has blackmailed the United States government.
Damn.
There's one thing that bothers me, and that as a Negro yourself, why do you talk so bitterly against Martin Luther King and a lot of these other people of your race?
Well, let me tell you something. I don't put my race before I do my country. Being a Negro woman doesn't matter to me who is a Negro or who is a white person. If they are enemies of our country, then they are certainly my enemies too.
They are certainly my enemies too. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, that about sums that up. I mean, come on. Like, that name Martin Luther King started to get all over the place once he started saying he led so-called blacks into a burning building. But real quick, let me see something here before we go, because like I said, today was more so of a preview video for what's coming in what's coming more into March. That should have stayed up. Why didn't I stay up? Okay, so pull that down. Real quick, give me a second. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Make sure. Okay. So we're gonna end this shit with some biblical stuff for a second. I would just want to touch on something real quick. Cause we're kind of done with that watermelon head ass nigga, Martin Luther King. I'm pretty much done with that. But let me get something real quick. Let me get Ezra's 9, because that's one of the biggest ones. And I'm gonna switch up the translation real quick. Switch up the translation. Where is it? Because this is the only one I know where that term comes up. Where's it at? Chinese language. Shit. All types of shit up in here. This shit's litty. Oh, I gotta download those. I might download those one of these days. Where is it? I don't have it on here. It should be. I should. Is it not on here anymore? Oh, I gotta download it. How long is it gonna take? How long is it gonna take? Boop, 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 boop. How long is this gonna take? If it's gonna take a while, then never mind. Yeah, it might take a while. You know what? Let me not do that. Okay, let me go here real quick. Go. Is it 2? Is it 9 and 2? I want to look up etymology or something real quick. Oh, okay. So it's ready. Okay, cool. All right. So that means it should be like up here somewhere, right? Hold on. Where is it at? Oh, okay. Maybe I just gotta go down here. Okay, cool. Hold on. Give me a second. Right? Okay, there we go. Okay, this is in a New American Standard, right? Sorry for that delay. I just had to make sure I get it right. Okay. New American Standard Bible, Ezra 9, verse 2. For they have taken sons of the daughters as wives for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy race has intermingled with the peoples of the lands. Indeed, the hands of the officials and leaders have taken the lead in this unfaithfulness. Now, I just want to look at the term race real quick, right? In the New American Standard, because that's not the term that they used back then, but you get the point. We're about to get to that. Oh wait, hold on. Is it reverse? No. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Now, see, it doesn't say the term. It doesn't say race there. It says a different term. It says seed. But let's look at this. Let's see what we got here. It should be Zera or Zara, depending on the because it's more so modern Hebrew with the E. Paleo would probably be Zara or something like that in Paleo tongue. But this is what the term race means right here. Okay. Seed, sowing, offspring, a sowing, seed, semen, viral or viral, okay? Offspring, descendants, posterity, children of moral quality, a practitioner of righteousness, figurative, sowing time by Mitzvah. Okay, I don't know what that really means. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it basically says the same thing in the Strong's definitions. Let's see. Okay, sowing seed, offspring, Aramaic, Phoenician. Let's see. Seed produced, seed. I guess that's Ethiopic, Assyrian, Zeru, cultivative land, blah, blah, blah. Absolute, construct, Genesis 1:29, Genesis 47 and 23, plus construct, Isaiah 5 and 10, suffix, Numbers 11 and 7, and 1 Samuel 20 and 42, 1 Samuel 24 and 22, Deuteronomy 11 and 10, Ecclesiastes 11 and 6, etc. Plural suffix, 1 Samuel 8 and 15, literal, a sowing, see above, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's just they're just kind of, they just put a bunch of shit in here. Yeah, they just kind of strong. They be doing some shit, but you get the point. This is what the term race means right here. Semen, viral. Okay, this is what the term race means. It means semen, seed. In the Greek, the term there is sperma. Okay, so that just basically gives it away. But offspring, descendants, i.e., what? Offspring, bloodlines. Okay, this is what the term race means. All right, that's what it means right here. Now, I believe that is the other. I think that's the only thing I really wanted to get from there. So let's see something real quick. Give me a second. I gotta Google something real quick. We're gonna do this again for next week, starting Friday, by the way. The Black History Month live streams will start Friday. All right, so get your popcorn ready. This should be okay. This should be where I'm going with this. All right. So, real quick, pull this up. By the way, appreciate anybody that stayed the 2 hours. I appreciate you. We're not gonna be too long with this because at the end of the day, the Royal Rumble is tonight. You dig? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Nigga trying to be lit for that. So you know what I'm saying? Nigga trying to get, nigga trying to make sure you got some energy for that. You dig. You know what I'm saying? Might have a big return tonight. I'm ready to mark the fuck out. Shout out to WWE. On the Peacock. Anyway. All right. So, can you guys see this? Or is it too small of a print? If it is, let me see if I can zoom up. See, 10. Yeah. All right. This should be good enough. Let me make sure. Let me see it on my thing. Okay. Let's see if we can go one more. 150? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at this color terminology for race as in the Wikipedia entry, and we're going to see if we can get some what's the word for it? Understanding of some of the things that was spoken on in this video. Okay. Well, actually, let me see. They got some other stuff on the side right here. Let me see what we got. Scientific racism. Let's look at this first. Well, hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back. Look at the term racism real quick. Because this was brung up in the beginning of the video. So let's go here first. Racism. Racism is the belief that groups of humans possess different behavioral traits corresponding to their inherited attributes that can be divided based on superiority of one race over another. That's pretty much true, but whatever. It may also mean prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against other people because they are a different race or ethnicity. Now, keep in mind, it said race or ethnicity, meaning what? They're trying to make a distinction between the two. Now, granted, race and ethnicity are one and the same when you understand what the term race actually means. Okay, that has nothing to do with skin color nor geographical location. It has everything to do with sperm or your father's, your father's sperm. That's how that's defined by your father. Okay, we've already looked it up. The term zera or zara in the Hebrew, and in the Greek, the term there should be sperma. We've already looked at this. But anyway, keep in mind, modern variants of racism are often based in social perceptions of biological differences between peoples. These views can take the form of social actions, practices, or beliefs, or political systems in which different races are ranked as inherently superior or inferior to each other, based on the presumed shared inherited traits, abilities, or qualities. There have been attempts to legitimize racist beliefs through scientific means, such as scientific racism, which has been overwhelmingly shown to be unfounded. In terms of political systems, apartheid, that show the oppression or prejudice or aversion in discriminatory practices or laws, racist ideology may include associated social aspects such as nativism, xenophobia, otherness, what the fuck? Segregation. They just make terms up. Segregation, hierarchical ranking, and supremacism. Okay, supremacism. Okay. While the concepts of race and ethnicity are considered to be separate, actually, no, they're not. In contemporary social science, keep in mind, contemporary social science, meaning modern bullshit, the two terms have a long history of equivalence in popular usage in older social science literature. Ethnicity is often used in a sense close to one's traditionally attributed to race, the division of human groups based off of qualities assumed to be essential or innate to the group, shared ancestry or different or shared behavior. Racism is the racial discrimination racism and racial discrimination are often used to describe discrimination on an ethnic or cultural basis, independent of whether these differences are described as racial according to United Nations, the one world government, anyway. United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. Why are they trying to do that? Because they're trying to eliminate race altogether. Anyway, there is no distinction between the term racial and ethnic discrimination. Anyway, it further concludes that superiority based on racial differentiation is scientifically false, morally condemnable, socially unjust, and dangerous. The convention also declared that there is no justification for racial discrimination anywhere in theory or in practice. Now, why is it saying that? Because that's the point. They're trying to eliminate the importance of race altogether because they've already, well, we're actually about to go to this right now, actually. We're about to get into this right now. We're going to go into the terminology of race. This is the bullshit understanding of race, by the way. Okay? We're going to get into this before I say what I need to say to close this video out right here. Hold on, let me put my charger on my Surface Pro. There we are. All right. Color terminology for race. Identifying human races in terms of skin color, at least as one among several physiological characteristics, has been common since antiquity. No, it hasn't. That's bullshit. We've already looked up what the term race actually means. So that's lies. Such divisions appeared in rabbinical literature, wherever that means, and in early modern scholarship. Keep in mind, modern scholarship. They try to say early to try to make it seem like it's old-fashioned. No, it's not. Usually dividing humankind into 4 or 5 categories with color-based labels: red, yellow, black, white, and sometimes brown. It was long recognized that the number of categories is arbitrary and subjective. Meaning what? It's just a bunch of shit niggas made up. And different ethnic groups were placed in different categories at different points in time. See that? Because they were just making shit up. Francois Bernier, 1684, doubted the validity of using skin color as a racial characteristic. And Charles Darwin, 1871, wow, over 200 years later, emphasized the gradual differences between the categories. Today, there is broad agreement among scientists that typological concepts of race have no scientific basis. I'm going to read that again. Today, there is broad agreement among scientists, even though most of them are atheists, but even them, once again, today, there is broad agreement among scientists that typological concepts of race, meaning what? Skin color, have no scientific basis. Meaning what? It's all bullshit. I'm going to combine that all again for you. Identifying human races in terms of skin color. Okay, here we go down here. What is it? It was long recognized that the number of categories is arbitrary and subjective. Okay, meaning what? Niggas just making shit up, throwing shit at the wall, hope it sticks. And today, there is broad agreement among scientists that typological concepts of race, meaning what? Identifying human races according to skin color, have no scientific basis. Meaning what? It's bullshit. Okay? Bullshit. Anyway. Antiquity onto the 1600s. Categorizing of racial groups by reference to skin color is common in classical antiquity. No, it's not. For example, found in the don't know what that is. Physiognomica. Probably said that all the way wrong. A Greek treatise dated to 300 BC, which means that's not antiquity. Dumbass. The transmission of the color terminology for race from antiquity to early anthropology in the 17th century Europe took place via rabbinical literature, specifically Pike D. Rabbi Eliezer, whatever, and medieval rabbinical texts dated roughly to between the 7th to 12th centuries, contains the division of mankind into three groups based on the three sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Meaning that, that's how the original races were defined post-flood, i.e. the Shemites, the Hamites, or the Japhites, which has nothing to do with what we have today. Anyway, now you guys can read the rest of that for yourself right here, because I remember reading this. This was such bullshit by that rabbi, but you guys can read that on your own. Once again, I'm not trying to do too much into that today. We might do that on Friday, just because I should have some other fellow NWBs on Friday. So, we might go into that more on Friday. But I just want to get this real quick, because I never saw this side note right here. Let's see what this says. Biblical terminology for race. Let's see if they get this correct. Let's see. Since early modern times, once again, we've already, just to piggyback before I read this, actually, keep in mind, we've already looked up in the Bible what the term race means. It means seed, sperm, okay? Offspring, descendants, i.e. what? Bloodline. We've already looked this up, okay? So let's see if they get this right. Since early modern times, a number of biblical ethnonyms from the Table of Nations in Genesis chapter 10 have been used as a basis for classifying human racial cosmetic phenotypes. No, nigga. But anyway, and national ethno-linguistic cultural identities and connection between Genesis 10 and contemporary ethnic groups began during classical antiquity. What, 300 BC? Then when authors such as classical antiquity, Josephus was like 1st century. That's not antiquity, man. Anyway, when authors just such as Josephus, Hippolytus, am I saying that right? Hippolytus and Jerome analyzed the biblical list. The early modern equation of the biblical Shemites, Hamites, and Japhites with racial phenotypes was coined at the Gottingen School of History in late 18th century, in parallel with other more secular terminologies for race, such as the Blumikott's fivefold color scheme. As we know, red, yellow, white, black, and sometimes brown, as we read. Let's see. Yeah, they got this all the way wrong. They really think that Galatians is talking about the actual Gomers and the, oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll probably touch on this to a degree on Friday, all these things right here, but I didn't even know that this was on here. This probably wasn't on here at one point. So, this is very interesting to me that they have this up here. But you see, they're trying, even though it's kind of like a misdirection still, but they're trying to give the clear differences between between the true understanding of race and the bullshit understanding of race, which was instituted by the so-called Caucasians at the Gottingen School of History in the 18th century. So we just read that, basically. So there you go. It's just a bunch of lies built on top of lies. If you want to know the truth, well, actually, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute, but you get the point. So, yeah, that's about it. I've touched about everything I wanted to touch on in this video, I believe. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything important before I end this one? Before I close this out? I don't think so. We might go over the civil rights Negroes thing again in February at some point, probably close to the end, maybe. We might build on that more, kind of like going to, a lot of those, what those civil rights Negroes did during that time, and the SCLC and things of that nature. We might do more of that near the end of February. I'm not sure yet. It just all depends. Like I said, the camp streams are definitely coming soon. We definitely got to go into that. That's also a big part of so-called Black history. Well, from a modern sense of the past 50 years. So we'll definitely go into that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to touch on. I don't think so. I don't think there's really anything else that I want to touch on. But yeah. So yeah, that's about it for this one. I appreciate everybody coming through, of course. Who was all in the comments section today? Once again, go down the list. 10K was in the building. Son John was in the building. You dig? The boy Mac is in the building. The honorary elder J2K is in the building. Can't even say that without laughing. The honorary elder is in the building. J2K is in the building today. Who else is in the building, man? Up C, down C, left C, right C was in the building. I appreciate you coming through, brother. I didn't get your comment earlier, but I appreciate you coming through. Who else is in here? That's about it for everybody in the comments section. You know what I'm saying? If you was in the building, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in for the live, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to rock out. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the viewership. So but once again, get the last thing. How do you get the understanding of true race, man? How you get that understanding? Come on, dog. Let's go to the entire screen. Well, actually, no, we do need to share the system audio for this one. How do we do that, man? Come on, man. Y'all know the game. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the drill, man. You gotta return. I know you. Come on, man. Hurry up. Come on now. Having delays and shit. Y'all know the drill, man. Y'all know how we do this. If you want to understand truly, Wikipedia told you, I'm telling you, other brothers in the past have told us all. Come on, man. This how you get to the understanding of true race, man. You got to return to the code, man, just like with everything else. If you want to understand about the facts of the past, the present, and the future, you got to return to the code, man, so you can properly Kahala Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Hamashiach Nagad Ha Kwatazah Mayan Ha Rashayath, man. Why? What does that mean? Declaring the end from the beginning. The understanding of race was told in the beginning, and the understanding of race will always stand the test of time to the end. So you gotta understand both, man. That's how it's gotta be. That's how this is gonna be done. So with that being said, I appreciate all the brothers coming through. I appreciate all the viewership. Yeah, man. I appreciate Max staying this whole time. RTTC. You know what I'm saying? That's how the NWBs, that's how we do it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it on this side. No camp affiliation, by the way, is kind of a joke. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are, in a very basic sense, we are just niggas with Bibles. Just be honest. We're just guys with a book in our hand. And, that's the best, as far as I'm concerned, that's just the best way of putting it for me. It's just a humbling tactic. I know people don't like using the term nigga. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to use it. It's up to you. It's your prerogative, but it's just a humbling technique for me. And, if you and other brothers that decide to embrace it, it works for them as well. What is it? Matthew 20, I believe Matthew 23:12. Those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. So that's kind of what that is. We're trying to humble ourselves before men so we can be exalted by the Most High later, i.e. on Judgment Day. So that's how that works, man. But just to get back to the point, I appreciate all you brothers coming through. You know what I'm saying? All praise to the Most High for another hopefully edifying live stream. May we continue to receive this daily bread, mental, physical, and most importantly, spiritual. And through all our transgressions, may the Most High, through the testimonies of his Son, through the knowledge of his Son, through the Spirit of his Son, continue to give us what we need as we continue to go through these turbulent times. And may that knowledge continue to flow like a river. As Isaiah 33:6 says, wisdom and stability. Wisdom will be the stability of our times. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. Humbly, may we continue to seek that and embrace that with all truth and sincerity. So, but let's be for real. I love all the brothers, man. I love all the hopefully elective Yasharala. Let's keep it 100. I'm tired of fucking talking, and I'm pretty sure y'all tired of fucking listening. So, with that being said, see y'all on Friday. Peace.